Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that covers all things marketing. The GSMC Marketing News Podcast gives you the latest marketing news, from what major businesses have planned for the coming year to the newest trends in advertising, from podcasts, digital and streaming, to the old standbys of radio, television, and billboards. Whether you're a marketing agent or a business trying to expand your brand, you've come to the right place. The GSMC Marketing News Podcast starts now.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jakewish, and on today's episode, I have been, let me start by prefacing this for you guys. I have been extremely addicted to, this is embarrassing to say, but TikTok lately. Specifically, this certain kind of video on TikTok that you can find, and it is Amazon finds, and it's basically just like very unique stuff people have found on Amazon that they now love, and I can waste actually so many hours of my day, just minutes and minutes going by watching people find stuff on Amazon. And it made me realize that it has been a hot minute since we did any sort of favorites or tech recommendations or gear recommendations on this podcast. I think it is super important as a marketer, as content creators, that we have the latest and greatest tech. I used to host a tech podcast, so when I did do these types of podcasts, I would sort of, use both content for both podcasts. So if you want, go head over to Ben's podcast. He does the tech one now. I'm sure he has even more recommendations for you. But I just think it's really important that if we want to create the best content out there, we need the proper gear to do so. So that is on today's episode. We are talking about some tech marketing gear that I have found all on Amazon. It is all incredibly affordable. So if you're interested in any of these products, reach out to us and we will totally let you know when it is, where it is available. And if you can't find it on your own, I'll send you the link myself. But before we get into today's podcast, I just want to give everyone, especially our new listeners, although old listeners who have been here for a long time, I want to say hello to you too. Thank you for coming back. But if you are a new listener, welcome to the GSMC Marketing Podcast. I am a part of the GSMC Podcast Network family, and it is a great family to be a part of. If you are unfamiliar with that company or with the podcast network, let me tell you a little bit about ourselves. We have podcasts on every subject in the entire world, it feels like. And it's not just that we're overflooding with information or anything like that, but it's that we want to produce content for you, and we want to produce content for very specific audiences. So we have lots of different podcasts for lots of different audiences, and obviously there are a lot of people who listen to multiple different podcasts because you have multiple different interests. And every podcast, every host, they all care so much and so deeply about their podcast and about the content they are creating. So it's really it's a magical thing to be a part of because everyone cares. Everyone's working hard to bring you the best content available. So if you're unfamiliar with our other podcasts, I encourage you to go check them out. We have beauty, we have tech, we have wrestling, we have sports, we have it all. So head over to the GSMC Podcast Network and check out some more podcasts you might be interested in. But for now, let's get back into today's episode. The first piece of marketing tech that I want to talk about is the Super Boost Wi-Fi connector. Now, guys, a lot of what we have to do, not right now, obviously, but a lot of what we end up doing really does require us to be on the field and to be working in the industry with our hands on the ground. We're at events, we're at concerts, maybe covering them, or we're at a trades show or a farmer's market or a business conference. And because of that, we're often relying on free internet at a hotel or at a conference center or even at a Starbucks. And for anyone who has ever tried to upload any sort of university or even a photo assignment onto a computer using a Starbucks Wi-Fi server, you know it's pretty slow. So the Super Boost Wi-Fi connector helps you connect to the fastest Wi-Fi possible. It boosts your Wi-Fi. It makes everything work a little bit faster and way easier for you. I have one of these, and it honestly has helped me in so many different jams. So highly recommend. Again, you can find it on Amazon, and it is going to save you over and over again. The second one I want to talk to you about is the Starscope monocle telescope and camera zoom lens. So there have been quite a few different camera lenses I have talked about on this podcast that go on your phone. I, for one, got mine at a Indigo, which for any of you that don't know, that's like a Canadian Barnes & Noble. But what it basically are, what all of these are, they're just little clips that you put on the front of your phone, and it enhances the photo. Now, that being said, obviously, all of our phones have, if you have the newest iPhone, you probably have some of the best cameras out there. But these lenses can just help it be a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more closer. And the Starscope monocle telescope and camera zoom lens definitely does that. It does exactly what it's saying. It zooms it forward. It is not offering you anything crazy. It's not saying that it's going to be as good as a Canon camera or Nikon. But it is helping you create a little bit better content by just getting a little bit closer to the action. The third one is the Muama Enhance, and this is something I don't have, but it's something I definitely want. It is a translator, and it can help you translate any language with just a touch of a button. And I just think that's something that is really going to help our content creation. We want to be able to reach every audience possible. So this is definitely just a great way to do that. Number 4, the HP Sprocket Select Portable Photo Printer. All right, guys, let's lay down some truth. It is so cool and so like something out of a Pinterest ad or like a movie from the early 2000s to have a camera that prints out a photo, like shake it like a Polaroid, you know? But those are a little unreliable. They're a little expensive. And if you just want to have the photo in your hands, the real tangible photo, I highly recommend the HP Sprocket Select Portable Photo Printer. It does the exact same thing as a Polaroid camera, but without all the fuss and without the cost. This is like $20, and it comes with paper in the package already, and it does the exact same thing. It is going to help you create some really, really cool content that you can actually touch and hold. Now, that being said, I'm not against a Polaroid camera. I have one. It just doesn't work, actually. But, again, that's the camera and the printer all in one, whereas this, you have to hook your phone up to it. So, if you have photos on your phone you want to print, this is a great way to do that. Number 5, the Mophie 3-in-1 wireless charging pad. So, for anyone who has stuck around long enough, you know that I am a sucker for a good charging pad. There have been so many times in my career that I have felt just lost because I don't have a charger. My phone is dying, and we rely so heavily on our phones these days, especially for those of us that are creating content at a live event or a live show. So having something that helps you easily charge your devices, and this charging pad helps you charge multiple devices with a full battery life on all of them, is just super great and is going to help you out in the long run. And I don't know, I always find those things to be very helpful. So if you have any recommendations on other ones like that, then please let me know, because I am so open to recommendations. I absolutely love charging pads, as dorky as that may sound. Okay, everyone, we are going to go ahead and take a short break from the podcast, but when we come back, we have even more tech marketing content creation gadgets for you to try. So stay tuned for more of the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll be right back.
Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast covers everything tech. The hottest mobile phones, tablets, games. We review it, rate it, test it. Whether you're Microsoft or Apple, Android or iPhone, we'll give it to you again. Black and white. The Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and on today's episode of the podcast, we are talking about tech marketing gadgets that will help you create better and easier content creation. Now, this is also just a list of products that I have found on Amazon that I truly would believe just would help you make marketing a little bit easier, a little bit more reliable, and help you create better content. So if you disagree with any of the content I list on today's episode, do not be shy. Reach out to me and tell me. I can take it. If you don't like any of these tech gadgets or they ended up not working for you, that is totally understandable. So please do not be afraid. Do not be shy. I would love to hear from you. So jumping right back into our list with number 6, it is the JBL Pulse 4 waterproof Bluetooth speaker. So I have mentioned other Bluetooth speakers before on other episodes of the podcast. However, this one's a little bit different because it's waterproof and it is also super lightweight. Meaning, here's the thing, guys, anything you want to put in your gear bag, you want it to be lightweight because you're putting so much in there and you're running around, you're hustling, you're whipping things out of the bag, you're trying to stay on top of it all, and you don't want some heavy speaker weighing it down. This is super lightweight, and again, it being waterproof is super great. That means you can throw your water bottle into your bag and not worry. That being said, you might have other things that are not waterproof, so I don't recommend doing that. This doesn't make all of your devices waterproof, but I think having a waterproof speaker is definitely important. Bluetooth, so much easier, so much cleaner without all those cords getting in the way, and the sound quality really is quite exceptional. So again, it is the JBL Pulse 4 waterproof Bluetooth speaker. All of these tech products are available on Amazon if you're interested in any of them. I would like to say the disclaimer, though, that Amazon is not sponsoring this podcast, although Amazon, if you're listening, Jeff, if you're listening, don't be afraid to throw some sponsorship our way. We don't mind. We are talking about Amazon here. But anyways, let's jump back into our list. Number 7, the LifeProof Life Active Power Back 20 portable battery pack. All right, guys, forgive me. I know before the break I was talking about a different battery pack, but that was a charging pad, whereas this is a battery pack. This is one you take with you. So I truly think there's a difference, and they both needed to be on this list. This is for when you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. Your ride is supposed to come at 7, but you still have a bunch of photos to take at the event, and you don't want to waste your phone battery. That is what this is for. Like it says, it is life-proof, so I trust it. I think that's pretty good. I mean, the first chargeable battery that I had to come with me, like the reusable kind, was from, oh gosh, I think it came free with a cereal box. I'm not even going to lie to you, as weird and crazy as that sounds. It wasn't the most reliable thing. This is a brand you can trust. I've had this one before. I really enjoyed it. I ended up leaving it back home when I moved, but I do think it is really great, and I would definitely buy it again. Number 8, the Flexible Universal Tablet Stand. Guys, we're working from home. And for all of you that have been noticing that there's a little bit more neck pain going on than there used to be, it's probably because you're working remote and you're working on a laptop. So get yourself one of these stands. It's going to help you out. They look stylish. Don't worry about it cramping your style. And trust me, your neck, your back, your lower back, your ankles, your feet, your eyebrows, your mouth will thank me because it is going to save you. We don't realize how much we're truly hunched over, and especially people who work in marketing, we're at our computers all day. I mean, I started at 7:30 this morning, and then I worked until 7:30 p.m., and now I'm recording this podcast. So life is crazy. It's all done on a laptop, or if it's not on a laptop, you're hunched over looking at your phone. There's really no way to escape that. So get yourself one of these stands. I'm not saying you have to get this one. I just think this one's stylish, affordable, and again, it's available on Amazon. Another really great detail about this one is that the height is adjustable, because we're not all the same height. I know, shocker. But because of that, there's a lot of laptop stands that are like a one-size-fits-all, when that's not true. We all have different torso lengths, and how we look at a screen is going to differ. So I like having one that has an adjustable length. Number 9, the multifunction phone mount. So this is called a phone mount, but I'm not going to play with you. It's a tripod for your phone, which you might think, a little bit, oh, that's conceited. I don't want to have a selfie stick walking around. That's not it. It is not a selfie stick. First of all, I have one of these. It is not a selfie stick. It is just a way easier way to hold your phone if you are trying to take a video, if you're trying to take a photo, even if you're just watching videos on your phone, you can prop it up. And basically, it comes with these little, I'm playing with one right now, these like twisty, bendy legs so that you can attach it to anything. You could attach it to a bench if you're outside and it'll stay in place. But also it can just sit on your desk. It's sturdy too. So really great. A lot of these come with a Bluetooth remote, so you can take photos from far away if you need to be in the photo yourself. Or if you're trying to be sneaky and like take it from like you're hiding or something. I don't know. Whatever kind of content you guys create, I promise this will help. Number 10, the 6.5 extension cord wheel from Easy Life. So it's from Easy Life. You can buy it on Amazon or a version of it on Amazon. And here's the thing. I feel like I've said here's the thing a lot on this podcast episode. I'm really laying down some truth about this tech stuff, guys. I apologize. I love how long it is. I also love the fact that it's in a wheel, because sometimes extension cords can get so messy, so sloppy. You could be at an event and you could get your extension cord messed up with like 20 other people's, and it's going to be frustrating, and it's not really going to be something you actively want to deal with. Whereas this one's a wheel, it spins up for you, it's clean, it's easy to carry around. Again, throw it in your pack, you're good, and it just makes everything a little bit more simple and a little bit easier to use. So I highly recommend it. Extension cords can be so helpful if you don't want to be someone who is stuck to the wall all night because your assets are charging or your phone is charging. Like, you never know. So it's really important, I think, one, to have an extension cord, and two, to have one that wheels up like this. Again, this is available on Amazon, but there are other versions if this one's a little too pricey for you. This is one of the more pricier end items I talk about, meaning it's like $30. It's not a lot of money, but if you don't want to spend that kind of money on an extension cord, I completely understand. Okay, everyone, we are going to go ahead and take another break from the podcast, but when we come back, we have even more marketing tech products for us to talk about. So stay tuned for more of the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Everyone, and welcome back to the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and on today's episode of the podcast, we have been talking about marketing tech items that will help improve, one, your experience creating marketing content, and two, the actual content itself. I love doing these episodes because I actually said at the top of this podcast, the reason it gave me the idea was because on TikTok, there's this trend where you show people the interesting finds you have found on Amazon. And honestly, all of it's probably a waste of money. and it's something I'm just very addicted to. I've been restrained, and I have not been, trying to like buy a bunch of stuff that I know I don't need. But have I been, browsing Amazon in a little bit of a different way now? Absolutely. It used to be a site for convenience of if I need to order a cleaning product or something to fix something, a chair, a hammer, groceries, toilet paper in the middle of all of this. It has been an easy to go to reliable source. However, people are now telling me that it's more than that you can find these very interesting little bits and bops on Amazon. And honestly, I was shocked, and part of me didn't think that all of it was available on Amazon until I actually looked. And that's how I got started on this list, was actually starting to explore all of these different items that you could buy that might help out your marketing. And we've done similar lists in the past. I'm sure a lot of you longtime listeners know this. I know I have a few very committed listeners. We have a bunch. I'm not going to just say a few. So if you are returning to the podcast, thank you for being a part of this community. I love doing this podcast, and I love getting to connect with you guys. So if you love connecting with me and would like to know more about me or about the podcast, then please follow us on social media. The GSMC Marketing Podcast is available on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We have a website. We have all the things. Make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcast as well. But you can also follow me, Mackenzie Jaquish, on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. It's all Mackenzie, Mackenzie, _ Jaquish, Jaquish. I would love to talk to you guys about these Amazon products or anything we've ever talked about on the podcast offline. So head over there, follow, we'll connect, and we'll get talking. For now, though, let's jump back into today's episode with more tech products. Number 11, the iPhone charger headphone splitter by Anchor Labs. The reason I wanted to say specifically the one by Anchor Labs, again, you should be able to find this on Amazon or a version of this, but it's a hardy phone splitter. Like, as dumb as a way to put that as it sounds, it's really not, because I bought some from the dollar store before, and they're flimsy. They don't really connect your phones or your headphones or help you split it. You can't really hear. You have to hold it the right way. No. None of that with this one. It is sturdy. It is going to last you. I have it. I've had it for years, and it is going to last you a long, long time. It's really great if you work in a team or you just need to split your headphones for other reasons. Super reliable, super easy to use, and super inexpensive, even if you get the one from Anchor Labs. Number 12, this one's not so much of a tech product, but I did want to bring it to your guys' attention. It is a website called Brand24. You can subscribe to it. It lets you know when others are talking about you or your brand online. This can be a really great way just to stay on top of who is talking about your brand. Is it your competition? Is it new customers? Is it reliable old customers? It's really great to know who your target demographic is, who's talking about you, who's buying from you, and also how they're talking about you and what exactly they are saying. So if you don't have Brand24 already, I suggest you look into getting it if it is something that you think your company needs to focus on a little bit more, is their target demographic and understanding their audience a little bit more. Number 13, the Jarbox hard drive. I have had a number of hard drives over the years, and this one, I gotta say, the best part of it really is how lightweight it is, but it can still hold just as much as some of the other ones. It is not by any means a tiny hard drive, but I think we all know the importance of a hard drive, so having one that's portable is super, super important, and I always think of it from the perspective of, is this going to be a pain to carry around? Because we need to be at like our top performing abilities here when we're working. So I completely understand not wanting to lug around this huge hard drive with you. So this one is super lightweight, super easy to use, as most hard drives are, but it has the capacity to carry a lot of content. So highly recommend if you don't have one already and you're thinking of getting a hard drive. Number 14, this one's interesting, and this one actually, a few things sparked this podcast idea. We actually had a listener suggest it as well, but I had this ad keep popping up for Peeps eyeglass cleaner. And I was like, oh my gosh, why is this popping up so much? And then I was having a conversation with one of our listeners. Again, connect, we can have conversations as well. And she was telling me about how this fan keeps popping up in her ads. She'll see it on Instagram. She'll see it on Facebook. She'll see it when she's Googling things. And so we're going to do a whole podcast episode on why that is, if it's something you should be using in your marketing, and all of that. So stay tuned. That's coming next week. Don't worry. But when it comes to the Peeps eyeglass cleaner, I was like, all right, why is this popping up everywhere? I wear glasses, but not actively. I'm not looking to buy an eyeglass cleaner. Like, what is happening? And then I realized the actual benefit of having this Peeps eyeglasses cleaner. It's basically a little clip that you hook onto your eyeglasses, and then you move it across really slowly, and it picks up all the dust. And then I realized that would be absolutely perfect for your phone camera, for your iPhone camera, for your Canon camera. It's going to clean it in the exact same way. It is going to make your photos a little bit more crisp, a little bit more clear, and trust me, you're going to love it in the long run. So, I don't know. If you see this specific one, the Peeps eyeglass cleaner, check it out. If not, you can find a different one on Amazon, but I highly recommend having this sort of cleaning contraption with you, because you never know, one, how dirty your phone is. Stay tuned for the rest of this list. And two, just how much clearer your photos might be if you just give it a clean, a good cleaning. All right, guys, number 15 is the photo stick. This is a really great way to upload all your photos instantly to your computer. Get your phone back empty, filled with a whole bunch of storage where you can take even more photos. I don't have a lot to say from that other than the fact that it's great. Find a photo stick if you don't have one. If you already have one, you already know how great it is. Get a second one. Number 16, and one of my personal favorites, is the phone soap. A family friend actually got me the phone soap for Christmas. He got me and my roommate one, and it is fantastic. Right now, we're all very worried about germs and keeping everything clean. So the phone soap, very nice. I actually did see this on the TikTok Amazon finds as well. You throw your phone into this little tanning bed, and it cleans 99.9% of germs, and you'll notice the difference in your phone. It keeps everything sanitary, nice, and clean. Okay, everyone, that is it for today's episode of the GSMC Marketing Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mackenzie Jaquish, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the GSMC Marketing News Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to any podcast app, and you'll find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, you'll find it all on the GSMC Podcast Network. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.